Wow. Good morning, everybody. It is this is one of the worst Mondays ever, I think, just because I'm so lagging right now. Oh my gosh. I literally just rolled out of bed and I was like, holy crap, I have coffee talk this morning. I kind of actually forgot. So I feel bad because I completely forgot. But good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I did want to make sure, people realize that, hey, Garage Gamer, how's it going, man? Stringer Films, Andrew, Jason, Philos, Natalie, Bob, Brad, how are you? I decided to cut the intro because I was late, so I'm sorry about that. And I'm drinking Death Wish coffee this morning. It's very good. It's very strong. All right, I don't understand why Arcade 1-Up doesn't realize that they've had everything to make a T2 cab for a year. Oh man, I wish they would make a T2 cab, but I have one, so I don't care anymore. But I do care. Actually, I hope you guys get one eventually, because it'd be really cool. Yeah, so dude, it's crazy. This last couple weeks has been nuts. I had, hey, my family, how you doing, bud? Hey, Juan. I had, the wedding. We had the wedding going on, and it's weird, dude. It's kind of like you plan for so long for this one event, and then it happens, and it's like, I don't know, it's almost like a little bit depressing, to be honest, because you're like, oh man, I want that. You waited so long to do that, and you want that moment back, and you just, I guess you don't when you have your anniversary. I guess I know why anniversaries exist, because it was such a fun moment, and then it's gone. It's crazy. It's MCO Gamer, how's it going, bud? I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, so dude, I was thinking about this, guys, over the weekend, and Justin and I kind of lightly touched on it. By the way, if there's things you guys want to talk about, definitely throw them in the chat. I'm trying to monitor it as it goes by. But yeah, I'm like, there's so many products coming out. And this is like, all right, so you got the things I'm interested in, and we haven't really talked about this on the show, is like so Noah asked me about those ICE home arcade products. I'm going to create a little, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a little side text file that just talks about what things you guys brought up. So ICE products. Yeah, let me, I'll even put that website up too, so we have it. So I'm going to try to parking lot stuff that we want to talk about. And then that way, shoot. Does anybody know the website for that? I don't know the ICE arcade, home arcade games, maybe. I can't find it. There we go. I think I found it. Yeah, it's an article on Arcade Heroes. It's a place I go to pretty often for stuff like that. So we'll pull that into the mix too. Then someone asked, I go all over the place on these. I actually wanted to let me finish that thought really fast, but so I was thinking about it over the weekend about how many things are coming out, and just like the money that's going to be involved if I want to buy all these things. And it kind of sucks because, the one thing I wanted to make sure that, I got was an Xbox Series X, and I ended up getting one of those, but I got one for my son because I only got one. So I didn't get one, but that's going to be a Christmas present for him. So he'll be super stoked on that because he loves it. And you guys also wanted to talk about the infinity table. So let me put that up there. Infinity table. But yeah, it's interesting because there's all these products that I want. And one of them for sure is the Oculus Quest. We haven't talked a lot about VR. I was really, really into VR when it first came out. And I was going to go mess around with you guys and get this. I have like a bucket filled with like VR headsets when they were doing like the cell phone things, when you could do the slide in cell phones, not the weird. Oh yeah, that's a good point too. Man, Sean, you're on it, dude. The Polybius thing was funded, which is really cool. Then why can't I think of its? Oh, that's Numbskull. Yeah. It's just crazy, guys. There's so many products, right? You got that company ICE. I don't know what they're going to do, but you got, there's a little bit of mystery around what they're doing. You've got the Infinity Table. If you're into that board games, you got the Polybius Numbskull thing. You got the Polymega. You got the Oculus Quest 2. You have the MVSX. There's just a lot. And so I was thinking about it over the weekend going, how do we have enough on this Golden Axe cab? Geez, see, like you guys keep putting stuff in there. You got the IA Arcade coming out. There's just so many things, and it's like, where does it end, right? I mean, we've got the retro thing is hot. I mean, obviously the Oculus Quest isn't retro by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm really really into these I'm really into these VR things. They're really cool. If you guys have never played it, you could argue that when people talk about light guns being dead or light gun games being dead, a lot of people have replaced that with VR, right? And said, "Oh, well, why would we want to do light guns when there's VR?" And I don't know. I'm old school, so I love the idea of holding the gun and all that stuff. Garage Gamer said that I watched MLP's video on the Legends Ultimate. That game's Legends Ultimate. We'll talk about that too. I think that's a good topic. So to sum that all up, even though it was all over the place, is yeah, I don't know how we're gonna have the money, the space, the time, right? Oh, and the Sinden. Damn it, I forgot about the Sinden. And actually, I have it in my hand right here, and I actually have it in the it's in the title, it's in the thumbnail. So yeah, there's this too. And guys, let's talk about this for a second. I'm gonna mark this as something we're talking about. This thing is really cool. So it's in beta right now, and the reason why I have this is because I signed up for the beta, which allows you access to the gun, earlier, and I'm enjoying it a ton. It's very, very accurate. It's super accurate. The other thing that's really cool is it eliminates this idea that you have to recalibrate when you move, which I'm a big fan of that because that sucked. The having to recalibrate when you move was classic for any of those other light guns, especially the I can't think of the name of it right now. The aim track, the Ultimark aim track, and the Ultimark aim track for a long time was a really great option because it was the only thing you really had if you wanted to build an arcade cabinet. There's some other ones out there, but for all intents and purposes, they all pretty much work the same. But this was the first time we saw someone do something very interesting like this, where how this exactly works is there's a 60 frames per second camera in here, right? And it's looking at, like, let's say I'm shooting at, this is my screen. It's looking at the screen. Now, it doesn't really realize what its playfield is until this box, there's a button right here, and when the software is launched, you press the button and it will put a white border. Doesn't need to be white, by the way. It could be different colors. It could also be different sizes, so it doesn't need to be as thick as the Gen 1 when Andy Sinden was Sinden? Sinden, whatever. Sinden. Yeah, not Sinden, Sinden. So when he originally had it developed, you needed a bigger white border. Now, based on the software advancements and different lighting conditions, you can get away with a really thin border. You can also get away with different colors and things like that. So what happens is the camera then goes, okay, I understand what my playfield is. I see the box. So it's like it's basically processing the raw camera feed and then what it sees with the box, and then goes, all right, I understand my playfield. The cool thing about that is I can be here and it understands that playfield. I can be here and it understands that playfield. I can be here. I can be back here. So it avoids this idea that you got to keep recalibrating. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Arcade 1UP deploys that technology, because it's gonna have to be pretty fixed. So, and the reason for it, people have asked, why is it not wireless? I think to do this and achieve it wireless with near zero lag would be really difficult to do. Probably near impossible with today's technologies. So I think the idea is let's keep it wired so that we get the best experience. That's what I think. Why I think that they did that. So yeah, so let's talk about let's talk about the Mad Little Pixel. Do you guys want to talk about that? You guys want to talk about the At Games Legends Ultimate for a second? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to hear about the At Games Legends Ultimate really quick, because the new 1.1 cab I have some feelings on. Too many games, Ice, Sinden, John D announcement. Did I miss the John D announcement? Thanks so much for that super chat. And Stringer Films, thank you for the super chat as well. How about bluish tint border to mimic the real cab? You could do bluish tint. Yeah, sure. You could do that. All right, so you guys want to talk about the At Games. All right, cool. We'll talk about that real quick. So I'm not going to really talk about, I like Mad Little Pixel, someone I watch. I watch him quite a bit. I like his material. Sometimes he can be a bit harsh, right? Sometimes he can be a bit rough, but I think he tries to be as honest as possible. I don't have the 1.1, but it was funny because after watching his video, I'm like, I kind of want to get it. But here's the thing that I think is gonna happen. The 1.0, let's just, I know I sometimes go into shtick about act games, and I go a little over the top, but some of it's just for fun, and some of it's my real opinion too. But the 1.0 product to me, even though I haven't seen the 1.1, it feels like if I were to buy the 1.1, that the 1.0 is superior to the 1.1 in every way possible. Now, not giving them props because the 1.0, when I first got the 1.0, you can go back and watch. I have this video. It's called like the good, bad, and the ugly. I put it back out there, and it was really good. Like the 1.0 was really good. Like the build quality was good. The screen was great. I didn't have any problems. No light bleed, nothing. None of that. None of those issues. The only thing I had was like the critiques I had were really, if you go back and watch that video, were really the marquee. I didn't like how they did the marquee, but I was being a little nitpicky, but I didn't like how it was like the light shined through the box, because that's not really how a regular marquee would look. You'd have, you'd kind of have your border, which would be like your metal rails or plastic pieces, and then the light so that you see the whole bit of artwork. It didn't like completely, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't buy it because of that, but it was one thing that aesthetically I didn't like. And then I really didn't like the way the cabinet looked, but outside of those two things, the joysticks are great on it. The buttons are great on it. Like it still has the best out of the box buttons and joysticks by far out of any of these 3/4 scale arcades, including the new MVSX. Like it's the winner there, no doubt. So you could even say that the 1.0, and I'm sure I don't have any experience with the 1.1, so I can only go based on what I've seen, on videos and stuff. I would say that you could leave those buttons and sticks alone too and still have a great time with it. Where, if you go back, it's so funny because people forget stuff or they don't go back and watch it. If you go back and watch my early arcade 1-up stuff, I used to like bag on them hard, like hard. I used to be like, the sticks and buttons are crap, like, but they weren't good. The version 1 ones were really, really bad. They were really bad. So I have this idea that I might, I don't know. It was weird. I watched his video and I was like, maybe I want to get back into trying to be as honest as possible about the new cabinet, but also be realistic about how I think, what the real benefits are of the cabinet. I think there were some things that he didn't spend enough time on. Like ArcadeNet has this weird thing about it. If those of you that own the cabinet, ArcadeNet has like this thing where it feels like like the quality isn't good on ArcadeNet. It's weird. Even if you're Ethernet connected, it's like it's not crystal clear. Because if you play those same games from ArcadeNet locally on the cabinet, like with Bring Your Own Game or the CoinOps X, it looks way better. So there's something going on there that's weird. But yeah, the version 1 I actually really liked, and there's a lot of videos showing me loving it. I mean, I had a week worth or 2 weeks worth of just like spam where I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. But it's really good in the sense that if you didn't want to build your own arcade cabinet, like if you didn't want to build your own DIY kit, it's going to be the cheapest, most affordable DIY kit you could ever imagine, because you can't build one for $500. Like, there's no way. You're not going to be able to build. I mean, you maybe could with used parts or whatever, but to just get something out of the box and put it together and be done. So it's a very viable option. I'm curious to see what the 1.1 is like, because it's weird. There was one guy that put a video out there. He's a really good guy. He follows the channel, and he did this review. It's called like Fly something, and he just got a lemon. Like, he got a bad one. He just got like a bad 1.1 Legends, and it was really bad. Like there was damage to it. There was light bleed on the monitor. So it made me wonder, like, am I going to have that same experience if I go buy the 1.1? I just don't know if I want to fork up $500 just to review it for the channel, because that's expensive. And they're sure as hell not giving me a free one, because they know how much I talk about them. They're not going to send me a free one. Trust me. There's no way. Hell would freeze over before they send me a free one. I know that. But what do you guys think, man? Don't you think there's kind of like, we're getting a lot of these companies pop up? It would be actually pretty interesting if IA Arcade ends up being a viable competitor to... It'd be interesting if IA Arcade becomes a competitor to at games, but I'm not so sure because iArcade is more, they don't want you to hack it. Maybe someone will hack it, but I don't think they even put a USB port on it. I'm pretty sure that Zhang at iArcade said he wasn't going to put one on there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, the thing is, the at the end of the day, my opinion is, the ALU, it's got good joysticks, it's got good buttons out of the box. It's a substantial cabinet size, but the way you're going to get the most value out of it is hacking it. 100%. Like, no doubt in my mind. Unless you're someone that's really, really into these older, more obscure arcade games, there's a couple of gems, right? But that's the thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you were going to build a DIY arcade and you're like, man, that seems like too much effort for me, and you buy the Legends Ultimate to hack it, like basically to just load your own games, then that's the way for you to achieve the same thing through alternative means. So that's kind of, it was weird. I had a weird epiphany when I was watching the Mad Little Pixel video, feeling like maybe I've been too hard on the products. The gamer I don't really like, though. I feel like the gamer I was being really honest about, I think it was lazy, right? Like, it was really lazy on their part to just be like, here's a control panel, and then try to sell you on the fact that that's a value, that it's a control panel that's interchangeable. Because if you bought the gamer, you're more likely than not don't want the cabinet. So, like, you wouldn't go buy the cabinet and then go spend another $200 on a control panel. But here's where it could get interesting. If your interchangeable control panels had different controls, like here's one with a steering wheel, that adds value, but they're not saying that right now. So it's like one of those things where it's like a value, but it's not a non-realized value. And maybe that's because they don't want to show all their cards, right? They don't want to go, oh, hey, we got all this awesome stuff, because then 1UP will be like, oh, crap, we better adjust our roadmap accordingly. But are you guys okay with me talking about this right now? Like, is this interesting to you guys? If not, we can put a 1 if you want me to keep going, because I did want to go for a second before we jump into these other 3 or 4 topics. I might want to go into 1UP, because I'm a little disappointed in them right now, to be honest. Stringer says we're not listening. Okay, I'm getting a lot of 1s, so I'll talk about that. Garage Gamer, you're the one that got me on the topic, so. All right. Why am I a little bit bummed out? Yeah, Matthew, I can't really. The thing is, I don't want to think that I'm so heavily influenced by the video I saw, but it kind of like, how sometimes you've been like, maybe you have a certain opinion about something, and then something kind of wakes you up on, maybe you've been too harsh or whatever. I feel like I was too harsh because I really did truly love the ALU when it first came out. There were maybe some other outside influences that made me dislike it, but I need to, like, here's the thing. I met Scott Baccarat, and I really like him. He's a really nice guy. I like John D. Met him, really nice. He can have a rough exterior too. And I met David. I became instantly emotionally connected to Arcade 1UP through the people at the company. This is me. I'm an emotional person, so I'm looking for that connection, right? Like, is there something to this company? The MVSX guys reached out to me. I built a relationship with them, and some of them were fans of the channel. I was like, that's so cool. So I built this emotional connection. I kind of had that with At Games, and it kind of got ruined through a couple different things that had occurred over time, and I think I did let that influence my opinion of the products a bit. So I'll fall on the sword there. I did. I got really negative on them. And maybe my dislike for some of the people behind the curtain or at the company wore off on me, right? Okay, so there you go. That's me being completely real. And yeah, I stopped covering it. I stopped covering it completely because of that. I was like, F this thing. I stopped. So yeah. So maybe we'll we'll learn how to grow up a little bit, dust ourselves off, and go, Let's continue to review it and continue to cover it. But the problem, the thing that I'm always going to have an issue with that product, thanks Trigger Films to the super chat, he says a Retro Ralph revelation, is that it does a lot of stuff. So like it's hard to cover, so it does a lot of stuff. So I'll have to figure out how to like hone in on what's important to cover, because I don't want to cover all the things. Like, it does a lot of stuff. Like, it has a light gun, but I did test that. I purposely didn't release a video because I felt like my video was going to be really negative, because it didn't perform that well, to be honest. And there were videos out there of people showing how good it was, and I'm like, maybe they're so there's this idea that they want to be the kitchen sink, but usually when you want to be the kitchen sink, you can't do everything, right? Is that the right term? Everything in the kitchen sink? What is it? I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Everything but the kitchen, everything and the kitchen, everything including the kitchen sink. Is that it? Yeah, no, not the Sinden's. The Sinden's great. I was saying the light gun deployment on the At Games Legends Ultimate isn't very good, but it sounds like they're releasing their own gut. Everything but the kitchen sink. Wait, yeah, that's right, right? Everything under the sun. Okay, whatever term you want to use. They're trying to do everything, right? And I think there's sometimes you gotta kind of hone in on what you're good at, right? Like, yeah, jack of all trades, master of none, right? They're good at the emulation is good on the device. You can bring your own games. People love that. But then sometimes you start to broaden it too much. Like there's too many things. If you ever work for a software company, they try to, Sean, the Sinden won't work on the Legends today because there's code that has to run. That would have to be a collaboration between Sinden and, you know who would be a good person to talk to about that is Restalgia owns that sort of piece of the product where the open source piece. So maybe he would have to talk to Andy Sinden and say, can we put the software into our hardware so it could be it could be plug and play? That would be really cool. But yeah, their light guns not good. Their light gun deployment's not good so far. All right, let's go to Ralph. Do I buy cabs for myself or Christmas for my kids? You buy them for your kids. If I had a little king thing sound, I'd do that. All right, so let's see. So we got oh man, sorry Justin that you're not feeling good still. Justin hurt his back and I feel like he's still. Did it really take 30 minutes to put your pants on, dude? Cuz that's me 2 years ago. That's how bad my back was. So I'm sorry if that's hurting you right now. That sucks. Yeah, I remember I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but for 2 seconds. I remember my back being so bad 2 years ago. I was on the floor in this like area between my garage and that's like a little like foyer area, and I couldn't get I was like in so much pain getting my socks on. Jeez. Okay. All right, that's enough of that. So I wanted to talk about Arcade 1-Up for 2 seconds. I'm a little disappointed that I'm not getting updates, and I know you guys are too. It's like, I don't know, I talked about this before. I think I talked about it in my last episode. Is like there's the hype cycle and you gotta like strike while the iron's hot on the hype cycle, and it's like we're getting close to when people are going to buy these things, and there's no information. Stringer says, super chat, same here with pants, needed a chainsaw this morning. Okay. Actually, funny thing is, guys, post wedding I lost over 16 pounds for the wedding and I just gained back 4, so I'm a little concerned about that. But last night I went on a crazy rant of food last night. I had like M&Ms and Snickers bars, and it was after the 1-Up Weekly. I just went crazy and ate everything. So yeah, so I might be a little heavy at the moment, but yeah, Arcade Eric, take a dump. I know I would probably lose a couple just from that, but that's awesome. All right, so let's get back to Arcade 1-Up. Stay on track. I'm disappointed right now because how if these pinball machines are gonna come out, I'm kind of disappointed in both companies. I'm disappointed in At Games and I'm disappointed in Arcade 1-Up. They both have pinball products that are supposed to be available between now and the end of the year. And where are they? Right? They've been very, very light on information, and someone said this last night on the show. They kind of ghosted Star Wars and Attack from Mars. So it's like, what's going on? They need to be careful there because you got all these products coming out all at the same time, and everyone's trying to get your attention and hopefully get you to spend money with their company, and there's just too many. And Michael, yeah, John D said soon the other day, but I love John. Been talking to John for a long time. I wish he would just, maybe there's some weird thing going on between the two companies where one wants to go first. Justin is convinced there's some of that going on. I don't disagree with that. Maybe there's some of that going on. I don't know. I just wish they'd talk about it. I don't know. I don't know if it's a being scared. So GameStop says, is Arcade One Up really scared of at games? I just can't see why they would be. Arcade One Up is giving their competition too much time to catch up. Agreed. That's something when you're the top dog, or you're the beginning one that comes out with a product. You did the initial innovation. It's always the people behind you that are trying to catch up with you, right? I mean, this is what I do for work. I go and evaluate all these other companies to see, like, are they getting close to us? And you got to be careful with that, right? You got to continue to innovate. I think if I was at Arcade One Up, I would be having conversations in the background saying, hey, people do like multi-cades too. Is it possible for us to build? Justin and I talked about it on the show a couple weeks back. Is it possible for them to build a multi-cade? I think people would buy that from Arcade One Up if they offered something like that. I really truly do. I think there's room for these specific units with the artwork that are geared towards those 3 to 5 games, but then there's also a need for the multi-cade in your environment. I think almost everyone that has an arcade has a multi-cade and dedicated machines that has like traditional arcades. They just do usually. Okay, change subject. Can I add Neo Geo games to Neo Geo Cab? Okay, we'll talk about that really quick. So, by the way, we need to talk about IA Arcade for a minute too. I feel like all of this is coming to a head toward the end of the year, and there's all this information is going to be all out at the same time. It's just going to be crazy. On the MVSX, can you add games? Okay, so we're kind of off the record here, right? No one can hear us, right? It's just us, right? Is it just us? I can share some information without getting into too much trouble. I'm not going to confirm that you can add games, but let's just talk about it for a second. If you guys have the Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro and you've played with the high-low hack, it's pretty damn awesome. Thanks, my family. It's just us, guys. No one can hear us. It's just us. If you've played that for educational purposes only, I love that they put like a little image of me with a GameStop hat on. It's pretty funny. So where was I going with that? Yeah, if you look at the high-low hack on the Arcade Stick Pro, that made the Arcade Stick Pro crazy awesome. Like, it just did. It because the Arcade Stick Pro I love the buttons on it. The buttons are good, and the joystick's good. All it would take is a little bit of effort and a little bit of exposure to that code base to get the high-low team to create the high-low hack. And one other thing is, the guys over at MVSX don't even need to be involved, right? Like all they need to do is the high-low team just needs to buy one. As soon as they buy one, I guarantee you they could get that thing hacked in. They could probably get that thing hacked in 24 hours, especially if it's close to I don't know what I'm even saying. Yeah, but they should be able to get that to work. And if they do, well, now you got all 6 buttons, so you can play all your fighting games of various different kinds. I really think that it'd be a game changer to have the high-low hack on that, because you'll be able to enjoy more of the Neo Geo catalog as well. Now, will they officially give you an option to add games? Well, it's a similar team that was involved in the Arcade Stick Pro, and they gave those codes to unlock, I think it was 20 more games. It was either 10 or 20, I can't remember. I did it, but it's been a while ago now. But I'd be willing to wager that there's going to be some official ways to do that. And Stringer says something about being bankrupt. And Justin said, "Wait, is that why there's 6 buttons?" Actually, I think there is a reason for this. Now, the 6 buttons, I didn't talk about this in my video, and I'm so pissed. There's certain things I missed, but I was so into like the wedding and planning that I totally forgot. So when you do button mapping, you can button map all 6 of those buttons. Like, you map 4 of the buttons because you only need 4 for Neo Geo, but you can map them in different ways that utilize the other 2 on the bottom right. So you could argue that if they felt like having an official statement as to why the 6 are there, they could say, well, with button mapping, you can use the 6. So if you wanted like 4 staggered, you could do that. So if you wanted an official, like, hey, this is why, they could just say it's to map buttons for different people that like different button configurations. You could literally say that and just be like, yeah, that's what it's for. And they haven't said what it's for, really. I don't think they've had an official stance on what it's for. But, oh man, there's one more thing I want to tell you guys, but I feel like I'd be getting in trouble if I did. Shoot. I want to talk about it, guys, but I think I'd get in trouble. Want to talk hypothetical for a second? Want to talk hypothetical? Say it. JP says, say it. There is no official embargo, by the way. There is not, just say it. You guys will get me in trouble. No, I can't. All right. How about I'll talk hypothetical? Okay. We'll talk hypothetical. The monitor is very reminiscent of the version like 1.5 arcade one-up monitor, right? Remember when they had the Wave 1 and the brightness was off the charts and the contrast was off the charts? Remember that? Do you guys remember like when the screen was black, you'd see the white in the corners and everything? Remember? Everyone should remember that if you were into those products. We all know you tore it apart. And this was the last time. I'm not gonna give anything away. I'm just gonna make some, I don't know, some statements. So it was very reminiscent. The monitor was very reminiscent of the 1.5. So, and it's a 5.4 monitor with the same resolution as the version 1, right? So this monitor performed like the better version of the Wave 1 arcade one-up monitor where they fixed the brightness. So think like the Final Fight cabinet. Everyone loved the Final Fight cabinet, right? So it felt like the Final Fight cabinet. Now, let's just make some assumptions. If the monitor is probably the same model or similar model, and it's 5.4 with the same resolution, then in theory, the VS display board that we all used in the Wave 1 arcade one-ups would potentially work in the MVSX. So you could mod it into whatever you wanted. But here's why I think that you wouldn't want to do that. So it is cool to mod stuff, right? We all like modding stuff. But what if the Hilo hack does come out? Then why would you want to mod it? You have hardware that already runs these games that's already there. So you don't have to do a hardware modification. You're only doing like potentially sticks and buttons, and that's it. And I think the buttons are probably fine for a little while. Maybe you do the joystick because you want to get that like more of a commercial feel out of it. So you might put like a HAP competition or an IL Euro stick or something. So I actually think that if what I'm saying ends up being a true statement, that you could mod it with the Wave 1 VS display board we all worked, yeah, the speakers probably could use an upgrade too. Killer Rhino makes a good point. So had I been able to open it up, I probably would have wanted to see if I could find. Here's the challenge. Are there really good 2-inch speakers we could put in place of the 2-inch speakers that are there and get better bass response? 2 inches aren't very big. So you got to think they got to be some really good 2-inch speakers to get that bass response out of it. So it's either that or some kind of small subwoofer that you could put in the back, like where you leave. So here's the thing. A subwoofer can make crappier, not crappy, I shouldn't call them crappy, but subs can make mediocre speakers really sound good in an arcade, because if you get decent highs and like a little bit of mids out of it, you can add some bass and it totally like masks that the speakers aren't that good, you know? So I'm just being fair on the speakers. They're not like a huge disappointment, but they're just not they're not like that substantial bass response that you'd love to have out of a cabinet like that. So it might be, yeah, Natalie says get a 2.1 system and put it in the pedestal. That'd be a great solution, right? That pedestal has a lot of space if you put a sub in there. The problem with that is you have to get a little creative because it doesn't have a 3.5 millimeter output jack. So if you guys ever did car stereo audio, you can tap in with these line level converters and basically give yourself RCA output from, or would it be input? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've done that. I have a couple behind here. I'd have to go look at them real quick. But you could add RCAs to something that has only line level inputs. That's what I meant. So basically what you do is it would give you RCAs that you could plug into an amp with those line level converters. People used them in cars all the time. When cars didn't have RCA jacks, people would use them in cars. I did it all the time as a kid when we would have crap cars that, friends would have the shittiest cars ever. And they're like, we want a stereo. And they're like, oh, I can't afford a head unit. So I'd be like, screw it. We'll figure it out. We'll tap into the existing head unit. And you would basically tap into the wires going to the speakers or going from the receiver to the speakers. And you'd create RCA jacks so you could then go into an amp an amplifier. So you could technically do that. It's a little bit of work though for that fix, but there's probably something we could do there. Yeah, do you guys remember, talk about like something retro? Do you guys remember like back in the day having a car and upgrading the stereo and taking the actual faceplate off and bringing it with you? Like, oh yeah, you'd like pop the button out and it would come out. Like, how funny is that? No one thinks about that nowadays. But you'd be like, hey, no one's stealing my stereo. And the funny thing is, I lived in a decent neighborhood growing up as a kid, and my buddy spent all of this money on his car stereo. I felt really bad. He didn't have the full pull-out unit. His was just the faceplate, right? Just a removable like face. And so he parks in front of my house. We just went to the basement, like playing video games or something, and we come upstairs, and my mom was upstairs and everything, and they stole his whole entire radio. They had the DIN. Remember those like double DIN things that you'd put in, and then you could take the whole radio out? So he left the faceplate in. They took the faceplate off. They took the little DIN tool, and they ripped his whole thing out. I mean, it's funny now, but I felt really bad because he's like, dude. He's like, my stereo's gone. And I'm like, shut up. There's no way that someone would have stole the stereo. He didn't lock his truck, and they stole it. I felt so bad for him. I'm laughing now, but I felt so bad for him. Oh, man, that sucked so bad. That really sucked. So my family said I had a Pioneer double DIN. It was so cool back then. It was, right? Those were badass. But the guy, yeah, he got stolen right out of the freaking car. I felt so bad. Vic says, if Arcade 1-Up T2, if they were released as a T2, would you buy that version? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I got to be careful now. I can't afford to keep buying these. That's the thing. Like, if even for review, it doesn't make any sense. I'm having a hard time selling the ones that I buy. So like, I'll post them on, I don't know if Arizona is like oversaturated with 1-Ups, but I have a hard time selling them. So like, you can't even break even a lot of times. And I just hate the whole process of someone going, oh, I'll come look at it. I might want it. It's like, so then you're, doing that. All right, all my CDs and stereo got stolen out of my car when I was a teenager. Yeah, dude, Reset Rudy said all this stuff got stolen. I don't think, did anybody ever steal? I never had anybody steal my radio, but I did have people steal my CD book. Remember those big, huge books that you'd have in the back? I'd put them underneath my passenger seat. So, you'd be driving and you'd go crawl underneath there to get your CDs. And then you'd put your really good ones in the flip visor. So like, I had that visor thing. That was like, all right, my easily accessible ones I want there, because it's kind of dangerous for me to, like, while I'm driving, grab and get this big book that's like this big. The thing was super freaking heavy too. Like, I mean, the thing was substantial. You could probably whack someone across the face with it and knock them out. All right, Mr. Steven says, Ralph, help. I need to mod the Legends Gamer, and my hapsticks I got don't fit. First time using hap, and it's letting me down. Screws don't match. You think drilling new holes is the way to go? I haven't opened it up, so I don't want to give you a recommendation there, but we could try to do it. I could try to do it on. I'll probably want to do that anyways. And I was gonna do an episode. Believe it or not, I went and bought almost every. Super Dimensional said I had an attempted theft. All they did was smash the rear window, and they used a flathead and hammered. Oh gosh, a flathead and hammered to the bash in the keyhole. What? Oh God, well that sucks. You ended up with at least they didn't steal your stuff, but you ended up with a broken back window. That's got to be a pain in the butt. Oh man, yeah, I know. The QA Ninja said they stole my Hanson CDs. I know. I was so bummed out. Hanson is bop dap 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 do, right? That's Hanson, isn't it? Or is that someone else? I don't know. Yeah, back then I would have said ganked. They ganked my Hanson CD. That would have been like some cool word I would have used at that point, or at least I thought it was cool. You gotta hate it when Hanson gets stolen, man. So Double D Guitar, hey man, how's it going? He said I had a car stolen, recovered car later, the entire guitar rig and pedal board. Oh, dude. Yeah, this was like 1993, 1994. Man, people would steal that stuff all over the place. Like all your stuff would get so it sucks, man. I think people used to even steal the head units if the faceplate wasn't on it. Got ganked, man. That's what I said. I'd be like, I remember looking at my friend and like, dude, your stereo got ganked in the front of my house. What does that even mean? Ganked? Gangstered? Was that what it meant? I don't know. Okay. Stringer sent me a link to some awesome speakers. Let's see what those are really quick. I don't know. Then I got to get back on track because we only have a couple more minutes, and I have to. My office downstairs, I haven't heard ganked in 20 years. I used to say that all the time, man. I used to be like, your stuff got ganked. I doubt anybody says that anymore. I'm sure that's totally not cool. Okay. Stringer said he sent me something, so I'm going to look at it really quick, and then these 2-inch speakers, hold on. Well, that's interesting. Let's see. Are you saying this for the MVSX? What are you saying it for? Stringer, put in there what you're thinking this is for. Pixel Game Squad, I am on a 6-mile run right now and have to poop so bad. I'm watching this for distraction. Dude. Okay, I used to run. I commend you for running, by the way, because I used to run and I'm like, I hate it now. But living in Arizona, it kind of sucks to run because you're like, oh, cool, it's 105 out. Let's go on a run. But having a poop and run, that's the worst. You're hosed, dude. I'm sorry, but I've never pooped my pants, but I've came close. Running, and I've almost pooped my pants running before. So good luck with that. I could tell you a poop story that has to involve Kim, but she might get embarrassed. She didn't poop her pants, but yesterday, I'll just say it. Yesterday, we were on our way back. I was actually going, dude, we got to get home. We got 0. No one wants to hear that. Okay. All right. We won't do that. All right. She didn't poop. I don't know. We talk about poop a lot. I don't know. It's just weird. Whatever. Okay. We gotta get back on track. We're way off track right now. We were talking, but Stringer sent this over. I don't know. I guess, I don't know what he was thinking with this, if this is for the MVSX, but it's 2 by 3.5. I don't know. Maybe you could route out that much room to fit something like that, but that would work. It's a full range driver and it's small. So that could potentially work. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm going to go over to the main camera and it's going to play my music again. Oh, it didn't. Wow. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so let's get to the rest of those things. I had a rapid fire the last things. I'm sorry, guys. We always run out of time. I go off on tangents. You know that. That's why I have to have this show, because if I did this on the 1UP Weekly, we would never get anywhere. The show would be like 100. It would be like 3 hours long. I can't do that. So here's some things I'm excited about. You guys, I'm gonna lose the chat for a second because I'm going to this other screen. But when I do that, we'll come back and we'll talk about if these are things that are interesting to you, but we're going to rapid fire them because I got to get to work. And my office downstairs is a complete disaster from the last night's show. Okay, first thing I'm super excited about is the Polymega. I wasn't excited about it. I was excited about it. I pre-ordered it, and then I canceled my pre-order, and then I was talking with Justin, and he convinced me again that I want this. So I'm very excited about it. I'm excited about it because I want to play my CD games. That's my main reason why I'm excited. I've got a decent amount of Sega Saturn physical discs. I've got a decent amount of PlayStation physical discs. I've got a decent amount of Sega CD ones. I actually, believe it or not, I have a decent collection of Sega 32X, and there's a 32X kit for it. So I'm really stoked. The idea around this system, if you don't know, is to be compatible with as many retro systems as possible. And they're going to have different plugins for them. And those plugins, I don't know if they call them plugins, but expansions, whatever, they come with a native slot for that particular device and native controller support for those devices. So this is a really cool product, in my opinion. It is pretty expensive, but if you're someone who doesn't want to have a million retro consoles and you're okay with, pretty good emulation of those products, I think this is really cool. Because for me, I'm running out of space. So I'm actually interested in maybe preserving my retro consoles. So you can see they're showing how you can put in hue cards from TurboGrafx. There's your Genesis. I'm interested in preserving my consoles. Even though I enjoy playing on them, it would actually make it a lot easier making content and stuff like that if I use the Polymega. So we'll see. The other thing I'm interested in is the Oculus Quest. I was an Oculus fan for a really long time. I did the dev kit back in the day, and then I did like the official released product, and then I'm gotten into these ones that don't require a PC, although this one can still be connected to a PC. If you haven't got into VR, it's not obviously retro, but it's awesome. I love it. It's fun. Still kind of like quirky a little bit in some ways, but I think this is an untapped market, to be honest. There's really some cool educational aspects to it, right? I had watched this thing. I'll bounce back real quick. I'd watched this thing at one point where it was on my Oculus where you could go to Chernobyl, and it was like they took robot cameras and brought it in there, and it was people narrating different parts, and it's like you can't go there, right? Because of radiation fallout. And I learned a lot about the event when it happened, what happened with the people that live there. It's just really neat. So I think there's a really cool educational factor that's maybe a bit untapped with VR, which I'm also interested in. So not only to play games, but to learn some things, right? Imagine you're someone that can't afford to go see the Sistine Chapel or whatever, which I've never seen before, by the way. Whatever it is, just name your historical monument. Maybe you can't get there, but you can get there via VR, so you're still able to educate people. Anyways, I like this, but I also have the regular Oculus too. My family says VR has adult education. Okay, I won't touch that. All right, so the other thing, obviously, the MVSX. Yes, I ended up buying one. If you were curious, I did buy the MVSX, so I am excited about it. My main motivation for buying it is I want to be able to teach people how to modify it and do things with it if they want, and I couldn't do that obviously with the unit that I had, so I'm excited about that. I have no idea what to think about this ICE company right now. I didn't do any research on them. I just saw this picture like everyone else did. This looks like a major space consumption thing. I already am limited on space as it is, so I don't know, man. I wouldn't have room for stuff like this, although some of it looks cool. So I'm excited to see what they do too. So we'll see. They're going to have some sort of like release on their website. There's so much stuff. And then you got the IA Arcade, which I don't have pulled up right now. There's just so much stuff. I don't know how we buy all this stuff. That's the thing. We have so much stuff. I don't know how we pull it all off. Oh, and ICE removed the Jurassic Park arcade. Okay. Vic, where do you live, dude? If you live around here, I would love to sell. This is weird. Feel bad saying this. I kind of want to sell my 4-player. Here's the problem. You can't get it out the front door, so you have to take it apart, and it would be such a pain in the ass to put it back together after you've taken it apart. I don't know, maybe there's some creative way to get it out of my house, but you'd have to like saw the window off, like, or take the door jambs off. Like, no, it wouldn't even be the door jambs. You'd have to take the door frame. And I'm not really wanting to sell it so much. It'd cost as much to go repair the door as it would to get it out of the house. I don't know why. Like, that was one thing I didn't think about when I built it. I was like, crap, this literally can't be moved out of my house. I have an arcade that can't fit. The Terminator 2 can fit through the door, but this thing can't. Oh, Vic wants that. Dude, I don't know, man. You'd have to come take it apart, and I'd feel really bad. Yeah, exactly. Double D Guitar says, Realtor, this house comes with a 4-player arcade unit. Seriously, it was the biggest. I almost literally hurt myself building that, because when you had to move that from the floor, like I was building it from the floor, and when you had to move it up, I'm stubborn as hell. Kim wasn't around, and I did it. Yeah, the beast, Nacho, 100%. When I had to lift it up, and I'll tell you, damn, all over the place right now. The reason why I had to move it, or the reason why I don't want to keep it, is like it just takes up the most space in my. Believe it or not, I was actually thinking, could I replace it with a Legends Ultimate? So there you go. How full circle have we come? I was thinking, could I replace it with a Legends Ultimate? Now the build that's in that thing is awesome, but yeah, I got nervous. Yeah, it is the beast, Hasso. It's the freaking beast. It's super, super heavy. Yeah, you have T2 Cab retro route. You have the T2 Cab? Yeah, but we did an episode on it. Go check it out. It was from last night. Ralph, when are we getting Retro SF? Oh, dude, Retro SFX. I haven't watched your new show. You just did one. You know what I want you to do, dude? Is it possible to do? Could you do anything with The Last Dragon? Like, is it possible to do some kind of sound effects with The Last Dragon? Because I don't think you've done that, and that would be epic. With a lot of people that watch the show, I found out really love The Last Dragon, the old school movie The Last Dragon. So not the. I think there's one with Bruce Lee in it that's called The Last Dragon 2. Not that one, but the Bruce Leroy one. Have you guys ever done that? Like, it would be really cool. I don't know what you'd mash up, but if you could figure out how to do The Last Dragon, that'd be really cool. But go check out Retro SFX if you haven't. They take, like, video games and mash them up with movies. And the the amount of effort that they have to put in to make it work is insane. I've seen some of their editing, like basically they took a screenshot of editing something. I have so much respect for the amount of time it must take to make these videos, and they're really cool. So basically they take video game sound effects and mash them up with movies, and a lot of times they come out really freaking good. So yeah, go check it out. It's really neat. It's one of those things. We featured it on the What Up Weekly a while ago. Earl Poole Jr. says, do I own a copy of The Last Dragon? I don't own a copy of it. Yeah, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. That's what I meant. Thank you, AJ, for hooking me up there. All right, guys, we got to go. I have to work in 8. I have a call at work call in 8 minutes. I'd love to keep. I love that part of the movie. When you got that glow, ba-ba-na-da, when you got that glow, it's the power of whatever. I don't know what she says, but man. All right, we gotta go. Yeah, definitely sub to Retro SFX. Totally cool. If you like geeky, nerdy stuff, they do it. They do it really well. It's awesome. Super cool. It's definitely worth it. And the amount of time and attention and love they put into it, blood, sweat, and tears is amazing. So definitely go check. I wouldn't tell you to go subscribe if I didn't think it was amazing. It's freaking amazing. You need to go check them out. And I haven't seen your new video yet, dude. So I'm trying to try to get that done today between work calls. But I gotta change. I can't wear this on a work call. I can't wear for educational purposes only t-shirt on a work call. I gotta change. I don't have time. I have 7 minutes. I don't do anything fast, guys. In my personal life, Kim is always saying I'm late to everything. I always am late to everything. Like, dude, guys, you have no idea. She'll say, hey, we gotta go. And she tells me way, way, way in advance, thinking I'm like, yeah, I always get sidetracked. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go in my office. I gotta do some work stuff. And I'm sitting here playing with the Sinden lightgun. So, all right, I can't be late. I gotta go. I know, we do this every time. How do I do it every time? I can never be on track. All right, well, I hope that, let's do final thoughts really quick. Quick final thoughts. I have like a minute. I'll do final thoughts in a minute. Hey guys, it's final thoughts time. All right, oh crap, I forgot the name. Did Pixel Game Squad actually poop his pants on a run? We'll find out on the next one, but I hope he made it home okay. The second thing we learned that there's way too many of these retro products and non-retro products, just technology in general, and we didn't even talk about the PS5 and the freaking Xbox Series X and S. There's so much crap to buy. How are we gonna do this? I don't know. We're all gonna be divorced. We're all gonna be broke. And we didn't even talk about the freaking Golden Axe. There's that too. There's so much stuff. How are we gonna do it? Anyways, we're all going to be screwed, but we're all in it together. So we can all have a support group after this is all done in 20 years. Maybe it's not 20 years. In 5 years, when everyone's using their arcade one-ups for kindling just because they're trying to keep warm because there's some global crisis, we can all talk about it then. And I'll be streaming from an undisclosed location, under a bridge or something. All right, that was really depressing and completely not okay. All right, none of that's going to happen. We're all going to be fine. No one's going to use arcade one-ups for kindling. We got the Oculus Quest coming out. If you're into VR, that's super exciting. You got that Ice company. I don't even know what the hell they're making. They're making like full-size arcades for your home that aren't full-size, but they're kind of cheaper. I don't even know what they're doing. And then you got, I don't know. You got all this stuff. You got the Polymega. You got the Polybias. You got quad polys. Double polys. Quad would be 4. The double polys. I don't know. It's crazy. There's so much stuff. It's nuts. It's nuts. We're all gonna be broke. We're all broke. By the way, if you haven't had it, get Death Wish coffee. It's really good. And if you would like this commemorative GameStop mug, you can go get it at the GameStop. Now, it's not GameStop with a G, it's GameStop with a C. So go check out thegamestop.com. I gotta go. You guys have to go. You're all dropping like flies. I can see it. Look, you're dropping like flies. Look. See that drop off right there? That's you guys dropping like flies. So, all right. You're clearly giving me a message. We gotta go. All right, let's go. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. We would very much appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up on the way out if you liked it. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell because YouTube likes to hose you. It's like, oh, you like this guy? You like watching this guy, do you? You didn't click the bell, so we're not going to show you any of his videos. Yeah, you see? You're not going to see any of his videos. You see? Yeah, I'm the algorithm. I talk like I'm from the 50s. I got a Tommy gun. I got to go. All right, guys, we got to go. Yeah, I got to go. Yeah, the algorithm's going to get you. Yeah, it's going to. You like that guy? Yeah. All right. Later, guys. Yeah.